Normally, according to Florida law, we are prohibited from releasing the name of victims unless, of course, the victim concurs with and allows their name to be released. This event was so horrible when we asked the victim, we would like to personalize this, and we do that with names and photographs. Can we use a name and a photograph? We've got to have your permission. And he said, absolutely, absolutely. I want to introduce you to Juan Ramos Sr. He's 35. Do you see him? That's after he's been cleaned up some, after they've got a collar on him, after Polk Fire EMS dealt with him. But here's the issue. He and his wife were involved in a verbal discussion, and it got heated. He had been drinking. Make no mistake, he had been drinking, but he left. He left home to de-escalate, to calm down. He lives in Mulberry. He was walking by a car wash and also noticed a young man who was Hispanic washing his truck. So in his drunken stupor, he tried to engage the young man. He said, "Are you 13? Are you 13? He has tattoos, and he says he's MS-13. The young man paid no attention to him and continued washing his truck, despite him drunk trying to carry on a conversation. And that's all that occurred there. The young man washing his truck had a friend inside the truck who made a phone call. And he called some friends and said, "Hey, they're picking on our buddy." And immediately, 4 other people showed up. Let me introduce you to them. Wesley Davis II, who was 18. Robert Friedrichs, who was 17. Ethan Simmons, who's 18. They were all in the same car. Then there was Dalton Creech. Dalton Creech is the only one from Lakeland. He was driven there by his girlfriend, Caitlin. By this time, our victim is walking north on the sidewalk on Highway 37 in Mulberry. He's walking back toward his house. He's not hit anyone. He's not started an argument or a fight. And these guys rush to him. Now, Ethan, he takes his shirt and his shoes off when he first arrives. And for those that may not understand that, in Polk County world, that means we're fixing to fight. So they approach our victim, Juan Ramos Sr., who is intoxicated, and start talking trash to him. And he keeps saying, "I'm 13, I'm 13. And then he notices that one of the young men is wearing a chain. He said, "Hey, we have something in common." Well, immediately, Robert, who's 17, hits our victim and knocks him out cold. Well, the good news is, instead of falling on the sidewalk or the road, he fell on the grass, or the injuries would have been much worse. And then they jumped on him like a bunch of pack animals and began to beat him and beat him and beat him and beat him. Our witness, Caitlin, is videoing this and tells them she's got it. I got it. I got it. Well, Caitlin gets home, and her mother sees this, and her mother says, "Time out. You're calling the sheriff's office. You're reporting this. Great going, Mom. You made a witness out of Caitlin." In the meantime, we get called as well. When our victim stumbles home, he refuses to cooperate. He's afraid. He's on probation, and he's not supposed to be drinking, and he's afraid he's in trouble. So he would not cooperate. His wife was able to talk sense into him by the next morning and to get him to cooperate with us in the investigation because he had been severely beaten. He was beaten so bad. You might ask, well, how bad was he beaten? How about a broken jaw, for starters? How about his teeth are all knocked loose? How about, in addition to that, he's got lacerations to his orbital sockets. He's got swelling on his torso. He's got a broken nose, all because they jumped on him and beat him without mercy. Now, finally, Dalton got Wesley off. Wesley was the one pounding him in the face at the end, but they were stomping him in the groin, in the shoulder, in the neck, in the torso. It is disgusting. It is sickening. I'll tell you something else that's shocking about all of this. None of these kids had a criminal record at all. But they went from no criminal record to charges such as attempted second-degree murder, inciting to riot, that's 3 or more people in a violent public disturbance. There was racist speech by Dalton. Caitlin continues to tell Dalton, you'll see in the video, you're military, you're military. Well, he's not in the military, but he wanted to go in the military. So Caitlin, although he was inciting the event, he was encouraging the event, he was encouraging the beatdown after it occurred, he never threw a punch because Caitlin told him not to. But inciting to riot and encouraging and advancing that pack mentality got him a felony of the second degree. I don't believe the military wants him. So it's important to understand you can go from no criminal record to a very serious, violent criminal record in the blink of an eye. Now, the adults, the 2 18-year-olds and the 19-year-old are still in the county jail waiting on first appearance. The 17-year-old has been moved to custody from the juvenile bookend because of the points. We're going to request that the state attorney file adult charges on him as well. This was not a childish act. But let's review the video before I ask you if you have any further questions, because the video may create some questions. Now, this is when they ran him down on the sidewalk, minding his own business. Caitlin is taking the video. They all know they're being videoed. If that's not stupid gone to seed, I don't know what is. They're bowing up. They're pushing him. He's showing them his tattoos that he's MS-13. That's what he said. And the guy on the left, you'll see in a minute, knocks him out. And once he's hit, he goes down and he doesn't move after that. He's out. He's out, and the beating and the beating and the kicking and the stomping and the encouraging them to continue to beat goes on and on and on. That's not going to happen in this county. We're not going to allow that. Juan is still in intensive care at the hospital. And they're in the county jail. And that's where they need to stay. It's important to understand, in a free society, we don't treat people like that. That conduct's not acceptable in Polk County. That's what animals do, and they're not animals, even though their behavior was. Any questions?
Sure. might this be considered a hate crime at all? You said there were some slurs and things used.
You know, the case is still under an investigation about whether or not it's a hate crime, but when you look to see that our victim, yes, he was Hispanic. The person he was trying to talk to was Hispanic. And there was mostly just cussing. It wasn't, I'm beating you up because you're Hispanic. They were beating him up because he had tried to have a conversation in a drunken stupor with another Hispanic young man. So the core of the event was not racist, and they didn't make any statements about, we're going to beat you up because of your race. This was strictly a retaliation for David telling them that their friend who was washing his truck was being picked on. And as you can see from another video that we'll make available to you, he tried to talk to him. He was never up in his face. He never pushed him. He never touched him. He never threatened him. We have no evidence to that. So it's not out of the question. We still have witnesses to talk to, but we're not comfortable filing the hate crime at this point in the investigation. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much. It's very important to remember this is Mother's Day. If your mother is still alive, make sure you hug her and give her a kiss. I wish mine was alive so I could hug her and give her a kiss. If not, go to the graveyard and thank her for raising a wonderful child. See you later.